Hey there, this is an Evelynn counter video intended to fill you in on everything you need to know to deal with Evelynn when she's on the opposite team. So first off, what does Evelynn do? Evelynn is a roaming stealth assassin focused on burst and taking out her foes from anywhere and everywhere. She's unique in the fact that she has a permanent stealth mechanic after level 6, and this grants her a very unconventional and unpredictable playstyle. She catches you out with a charm and then bursts you down before you can blink. After that, she has the opportunity to escape with a high mobility ultimate. If there's a champion you find yourself struggling with in your solo queue games and you're tired of banning it, then feel free to drop a comment and let us know. If you're interested in learning more about Evelynn or any other champion, then head on over to the Mobalytics website where you can see everything you need to know, including builds, combos, pro builds, tips and more. Honing in on that, Evelynn's main strength is a permanent stealth mechanic, allowing her to move without being tracked by standard wards. Her other strengths are that she has a huge amount of burst damage, especially with her ultimate up, and she can easily one-shot you after landing a charm, and she has very high mobility when her ultimate is up, as you can use it to escape while finishing multiple targets off at the same time. Moving on to the weaknesses, Evelynn is exceptionally squishy and can be punished instantly when opponents can see it. She's very poor versus heavy tank and CC compositions. Evelynn also struggles to recover when behind, as like most assassins, she really is reliant on getting items so that her damage can do enough to execute squishy targets. We're going to dive in specifically how to counter Evelynn, but first is an overview of the major tips that we'll be breaking down further in this video. First off, vision control. It is trickier to track down Evelynn, but control wards and warding camps and places where she's going to be in vision is key. Watch her charm. Evelynn's only real ganking tool is her charm. When you see on you or a teammate, stack up with your allies or run to safety. Respect her ultimate. Evelynn's ultimate allows her to get into sticky situations to finish someone off and then get away for free. Focus her when she reveals herself. Although it's hard to track Evelynn due to her stealth, when she does show up, try and take her out quickly and focus her with CC and damage. Don't forget about it. It sounds obvious, but it's very easy when you're looking at the minimap and don't see the Evelynn showing up to just forget about the fact that she could be there waiting and looking for an opportunity to gank or assassinate a target. If you're going into a game against an Evelynn, these are solid bases to remember and will help you be successful. It's always good to think about when a champion is strongest or weakest. Evelynn is strongest in mid game, where she's got a few damage items and can really roam around and pick people off with a burst. In contrast, Evelynn is very vulnerable early game pre-6 as she doesn't have her stealth until then and she has no mobility without her ultimate. So let's have a look at Evelynn's early game, which is going to be looking to try and find some successful ganks. First off, you want to play aggressive. Abuse her. Evelynn is weak pre-6, so look to group up in the river to prevent her from securing scuttles and deny her for any form of XP. If Evelynn comes to your lane early or when your lane opponent is based, she'll usually be trying to tax the lane by sponging some experience and gold. If you can, punish her when she tries to do so, and it can end in an easy kill. Invade her. If your lane is pushed up or you're jungling against her, look to gain a lead by invading Evelynn and killing her before she gets her stealth and ultimate. She's fairly weak in 1v1's early game, and most junglers will be able to abuse this. Putting Evelynn behind is key to countering her, so jump at any opportunity you get to do this. Force an early dragon. As we've mentioned, Evelynn is weak before level 6 and you can look to capitalize on this by securing an early dragon. This is one way to get a step up above your opponents and build towards the ever appealing dragon soul. Control ward lane brushes. A common tactic with Evelynn players is to walk directly through the middle of a lane to avoid walking through control wards in the river brushes. Try to counter that by placing your control wards deep in the lane or further into Evelynn's jungle. Moving on to the mid game. First off, respect her. Mid game is where Evelynn thrives and you'll want to make sure you're aware of that. Don't play overly aggressive unless you see her elsewhere on the map, and remember she could always be nearby. Ward her out. Especially in the mid game, it's key to ward out Evelynn and try to gather as much intel on her as possible. Focus on warding camps rather than the usual spots, as this will show when she's unstealthed and clearing. Don't face check anywhere and don't take routes that you haven't been recently, as they are unlikely to be warded and she may be waiting for you. Knowing her whereabouts is the key to playing against her, and knowing when you can push your limits and force fights or objectives. Stick with your allies. Evelynn is an assassin and therefore will look to catch enemies who are split from their teammates, especially those high value targets such as carries. Always try to stick near your allies and don't wander off into a side lane alone. This is easy pickings for Evelynn, and that's exactly how she'll snowball the game in her favour. Moving on to the late game. First off, CC her. Evelynn will almost always die when she's CC'd. Whether it's a big AoE teamfight or just a small skirmish, always try to keep your CC ready for when Evelynn reveals herself. As soon as she has, turn and focus it down as she cannot use her ultimate when CC'd. Catch her out farming or rotating. Although Evelynn loves to catch people out, she's also very vulnerable to the same fate. If you see her farming up or rotating alone, look to catch her off guard as she won't expect you to know where she is. Despite it being late game, Evelynn very rarely buys defensive items, so she should always die quickly. Killer Team. Evelynn is always looking for that sneaky opportunity to burst her opponents. If you know where she is and she's taking her time to get on with it, just destroy her teammates before she has time to react. This can be a super viable strategy versus assassins, however it is risky as you will need to make sure you do the job before she joins the party. Bait her into starting an objective. This is a surprising one, but because Evelynn relies so much on the element of surprise with her stealth, if she starts combat with an objective like a dragon or baron, she's then revealed herself, so you can use this to your advantage to force a fight and take her out before she gets the jump on you. Looking at items that work well against Evelynn. First off is QSS. This item is great against Evelynn as not only does it provide a good chunk of magic resist, it also provides a cleanse from Evelynn's charm. If she's focusing you as a target, be sure to pick one of these up. Banshee's Veil or Edge of Night. This is uniquely effective against Evelynn as she simply cannot charm you while your spell shield is up. By having this, she will likely reveal herself to get rid of the spell shield, and this gives you a chance to jump on her and take her down. Zhonya's Hourglass or Stopwatch. This item can save you from a quick burst from Evelynn and easily allow you or your team to punish her afterwards. Also, it's a great way to dodge her ult damage as it does a huge amount of burst. Magic Resist. Self-explanatory item for Evelynn, she does a ton of magic damage and any item she buys to bring that damage down a notch will be very useful. That wraps everything up for our Evelynn counter video. If you enjoyed this video, then you can find more counter videos on our website or in the playlist link below, and be sure to subscribe to be alerted for when we cover a new champion. Thanks for watching and we look forward to seeing you again.